We all know that the war between United States, Israel on one side and Iran on the other has intensified. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and several other leaders were killed in a massive US attack. Iran too retaliated and launched a massive attack not just on Israel but also on US bases, on Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Dubai and Saudi Arabia also. Iran has also shut down the Strait of Hormuz, which is very crucial for movement of ships carrying crude oil and liquefied natural gas. And here is the catch. India imports crude oil and LNG through this passage. Almost India's 40 to 50% of the imports pass through the Strait of Hormuz. What happens to India if ships stop moving through this narrow waterway? And this determines how much you and I pay for our petrol or diesel. Here is what the Iran-US-Israel war means for India and how long our oil reserves could actually last. You are watching Telangana Today and this is Srinivas Reddy. Welcome back. This is not a proxy war anymore. The current crisis began on February 28th when the United States and Israel launched joint strikes on Iran, and Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and top military commanders were killed. Iran responded with missile and drone attacks on Israel targets and US bases in the Gulf. This escalated into a direct multi-front confrontation. And then came the real shock. Iran warned commercial vessels not to transit through the Strait of Hormuz. Shipping traffic dropped dramatically, with tankers rerouting or anchoring outside the strait. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow waterway connecting the Persian Gulf to the Arabian Sea. Nearly 20% of the world's crude oil and a similar share of LNG passes through it every day from Saudi Arabia, Iraq, UAE and Kuwait. If this choke point is blocked or even disrupted, global oil prices react instantly, and they already have. Shipping disruptions have led to a war risk insurance premium soaring. Freight costs have risen. Tankers rerouting via the Cape of Good Hope only adds to weeks of delivery time. Brent crude price has seen sharp spikes as markets have responded due to the geopolitical risk. And this isn't just about supply. It is about uncertainty, and this uncertainty is very expensive. India imports nearly 85 to 90% of its crude oil, and roughly 40 to 50% of those imports pass through this Strait of Hormuz. So this update applies directly to Indian consumers, businesses depend on fuel, investors, policy watchers. Of course, it does not directly affect countries that are largely energy self-sufficient. For India, even if Hormuz isn't officially closed, higher freight costs and risk premiums mean higher landed crude prices. Higher crude means higher import bill, which only means inflation pressure. And in extreme scenarios, analysts say Brent could cross $100 per barrel. That impacts petrol and diesel prices, transport and logistics costs, food inflation, fiscal deficit, current account balance, so on and so forth. The rupee could weaken, bond yields could rise, equity markets could turn volatile. This is the macroeconomic ripple effect that is likely to happen. But India maintains strategic petroleum reserves or SPR in underground storage facilities. Combined commercial and strategic stocks can cover roughly 20 to 25 days of imports under normal conditions. With full drawdown mechanisms, authorities suggest the coverage could extend up to 74 or 75 days. So even in a complete Hormuz shutdown scenario, India could manage supply for roughly 3 weeks to about 2.5 months. But here is the key. Reserves buy time. They don't solve prolonged disruption. India can diversify imports through Russia or US or Gulf or West Africa. Or it could draw down strategic reserves, or it could use diplomatic channels with Gulf producers, or it could deploy fiscal measures to cushion domestic prices. But all of these depend on how long the conflict lasts. The Iran-US-Israel conflict is not just a regional war. It is a global energy flashpoint. For India, the real question is not whether we have oil. It's how long the disruption lasts and how high prices climb before the stability returns. Of course, India has buffers, but prolonged instability could reshape inflation, reshape markets, and reshape policy decisions in the months ahead. If this breakdown has helped you understand the real impact beyond the headlines, save this video, share it with someone who tracks markets or policy, and subscribe for sharp, verified updates that matter to India. Because in a global crisis, information is your first line of defense. Thank you.